Okay, well, I show 9 o'clock here, so I said we go ahead and get started. Super excited. We got week number 2 here, week 1 behind us, and hope you're enjoying From Wishing to Winning so far. We're obviously just sort of getting started here with the program with 1 week behind us, and but vision boards are cool, right? Hope you had that good experience thinking about your vision board, hopefully getting one up on the wall. If you haven't yet, I would encourage you, just don't be afraid to take imperfect action. Get something up there, start working on it, and then just make it better. A lot of times the first step's the toughest, right? If we don't make that first step, then it just never quite gets going. So I was talking with my wife Holly earlier, and she had mentioned that statement of don't be afraid to take imperfect action. I just really like that. It's good advice, right? So before we jump in here to week number 2's training, what I would like to do is we're going to erase old blue here. Should call it old white, right? But this is old blue, my trusty whiteboard. And what I would like to do is just do a quick review of last week. So repetition is very helpful with stuff like this to make sure that it's sinking in. So what we talked about in week 1 obviously was having a vision board, right? So we got our vision board here. And what we talked about is that you have a frame on your wall. Now, I don't care if it's a cork board, if it's a whiteboard, if it's painter's tape, just sort of making an outline of a frame there for you. But have a frame up there in a place that you're going to see it often, and ensure yourself that you're going to see it at least in the morning and the evening. And I even like the idea of taking a picture of it so you can take it with you when you're mobile as well. But within here, we're going to have a picture of what that item looks like, ideally when we're already there, so we can start really imprinting and getting our thoughts thinking towards that end goal and putting it on that path. And then below or above our picture, we're going to have our 1 or 2 sentence description of what that item is. So as I told you, I've got 9 items. So I've got sort of 3 across, 3 down is how I have configured my vision board. I did a quick live video the other day to show you sort of what my vision board looks like. And maybe if you're starting off, you start off with 1, maybe 2 items just to sort of get going with it and get some early success, and then you can sort of build it from there. But how we then work our vision board is we wake up in the morning, 3 minutes, we're going to work that vision board. We're engaging as many of our senses as possible, and we are envisioning what it's like in our mind, what it's like to already be there and already have that thing that we're shooting for on our vision board. And as we do that, as we engage our emotions, that's like that fuel on the fire to get our mind even quicker and quicker on board to getting to that end result. Because remember, why we're doing a vision board is we're working on our visualization. Visualization is a massive ingredient or a massive way to get our thoughts started in a direction that we want them to. And we know that our thoughts lead to emotions, lead to actions, which lead to our results. So this is really easy to see when you think about visualization. Today we're going to talk about our words and verbalization and how that does the exact same thing, just in a different way. So we're using our visual part of our brain here, and then we're going to talk tonight similar to a hand in a glove. So if our hand here is our visualization, that glove going on top is the words that we use. Those two together create a wonderful foundation of where we're wanting to go with our end results. Does that make sense? Maybe just give me a quick little yes on the chat bar there if that's making sense for you, that quick little review there on vision boards. And hopefully, again, you've had a chance to get your vision board up and going, and it's been really fun seeing those come in on the Facebook group. It looks like you guys are off and running, so congratulations to you guys on that. All right, let's go ahead and jump in here with our training now on declaration. So maybe just terminology wise. So you'll hear this topic called declarations, what you declare to yourself with your words. Affirmations is another word for it, or just simply the words we use, the power of our words, right? I remember I can't even remember the time frame. I want to say it's probably the late 80s or early 90s or into the 90s. There was a skit on Saturday Night Live called Stuart Smalley. Does anyone remember Stuart Smalley? I believe now the disgraced former senator from Minnesota. I can't even remember his name now. I should remember that. But he played Stuart Smalley. He wrote a lot of the SNL skits. And he would come on and he would look in the mirror and he would say, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and by golly, people like you. You can go Google it or YouTube it, and you'll see this video. And I just chuckle because there's actually a lot of truth to what is going on in that skit. I mean, he does it sort of as a joke, but he's telling himself these positive things, and it really does affect you. It affects you in a positive way when you tell yourself those things. So the example that I love to use is we're first starting off this conversation on our word choice and what we're telling ourselves. By the way, when I say words, it's both our internal dialogue, so nonverbal dialogue that we have, as well as the actual words we verbally speak. There is a individual named Dr. Emoto. And those of you that have heard of Dr. Emoto before are going to be familiar with a couple of the things he does. The first one he did was an experiment using rice. And maybe just throw up a quick thing in the chat if you've seen or heard Dr. Emoto's experiment with rice before. I'm going to explain it as we go here. But Dr. Emoto, what he did is you can see a lot of kids in school do this. There's been a lot of experience, maybe like a church lesson or something like that. But what they do is they get 2 jars of rice, exact same rice, that they put in the jar with the lid tightened on. And then in one of the jars, they will write either a label or verbally speak words that are more negative to this jar. So, one you see is like hate, or you'll just mean words that are going to be on that bottle or spoken to that bottle. The other bottle is going to be positive word labeled on it, or speaking kind, loving words to that bottle. And what you do is you do this experiment. You speak these words or put these labels on it. And over days and weeks, what you actually see with this rice that has the negative labels and negative words spoken to it is that it turns like a nasty brown color. It actually looks like it's sort of dying. The other rice, meanwhile, basically is unfazed. It just sort of stays the white color that it is. Isn't that interesting that the words we speak are that powerful that you can do it with rice? It's not a human, it's rice, but the words are actually doing something to the chemical composition of the rice, which is extremely fascinating if you think about that. Well, he did a second one that I think is even more amazing, which was on ice. So same type of thing, but he did water and then ice with it. And what he did is he spoke the negative words to one and then positive words to the other. And when the water turned from water to ice, the pattern within the negative one was just really chaotic and just sort of all over the place, while the words spoken positively to the positive glass of water that was turned to ice had this real cool, intricate patterns within it. And the thing that's really interesting about the water and the ice experiment from Dr. Emoto is that, did you know us as individuals, we're composed of 60% water? So if through this experiment of negative words spoken to water and positive words spoken to water can have those types of influences, what are they doing to us, ourselves, right? As humans, as we speak those words to ourselves, or others do to ourselves as well, right? So just some things to start getting you thinking a little bit about. The power of our words is real, and the words that we speak both internally and verbally, externally, are very powerful. And that's sort of what I want to start off with this Dr. Emoto example, is that the words we speak are definitely powerful and they're doing something. If you haven't had a chance to watch either of those, I would just encourage you to jump on YouTube and check them out. They're actually really, really fascinating. what you can learn from those two experiments from Dr. Emoto. All right, so let me give you a little object lesson for tonight. What I'm holding here is a flathead screwdriver. I've got the type that you can just sort of magnetically replace the tip here. Oh, as I drop it, let me get it off the floor. Here it is. So it just sort of magnetically clicks in there. Obviously, you have others that are more sturdy and are just sort of fixed there. But this is the one that I used here a few months ago. What happened was I had a broken rear view mirror on my truck. It was on the passenger side. And it just been sort of, it was still functioning fine, but the plastic on the back was broken off. I believe I bumped something in at one time and it sort of it busted out the back side of the rear view mirror. So just sort of ugly, and it had been bugging me. So I decided, hey, I'm gonna get this thing fixed. And I decided to take on a DIY project. All right. We talked a little bit about DIY last week, I believe. And you know, the thing that I decided to do was I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go, instead of going and paying $300, $400, $500 at the dealership, I'm just going to go order this part and I'm going to install it myself, you know, just sort of take this on. So went, found the part. It was only, I think, like $95 or $100 or something. So I bought it, and, you know, it took a little bit of time to come, and finally it arrives. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm not known to be super handy with stuff like this. And I decided, hey, I'm going to go watch the YouTube video, right, of how to do this step by step. And there's actually some really good videos, so it makes it fairly straightforward and easy. So I go get my toolkit here. I think I got all the tools that I need, so I'm all situated. And as you start off, in the handle of your truck, there's a little, if you look down in there, there's like this little plastic square piece, and it's got a little notch in there. And what you do is you just sort of pick you have a place to just sort of pop that little square out. And underneath there is a Phillips screwdriver head for a screw. So you go ahead and unscrew that, and then you're able to start disassembling the door panel, which is what you need to do to get to the place where you actually replace you take off the old rear view mirror and replace it with the new one. So I'm going ahead and doing this. I pop the square off, doing all the panels, and then it gets to a part where I need a socket. So I've got my toolkit here. I open it up to get to the sockets. And with this particular set here, the sockets are really, you know, and I think probably with a lot of them, it's sort of wedged in there really tightly, right? So things don't just fall all over the place. So it's sort of pinched in there pretty good. And I've always got to sort of get in there, and it's really tough to do with just your fingers. So I decide, hey, I'm going to get my little flathead screwdriver I've got here. And I've got this toolbox sitting in the back with the sockets in the back seat of the truck. And so I just reach back there. I'm going to just pop, I know the one I need. I'm going to pop it out of there, and then I'm able to, you know, get my socket all situated with the wrench and loosen this particular part that I get to. Well, if you can see here, this thing is, sorry, I keep trying to show it on the camera. It's a little tough. It's really tiny here. It's just a really tiny, because I needed something fairly small to get that little plastic square out. And so anyway, I go back there and I'm popping this socket out of its place, and the next series of events happened in a blink of an eye. It was crazy. What had happened was I popped the socket out of the toolkit here, and this tip, because it had too much pressure, actually came out, and what it did is it shot straight to the side, and it exploded the rear driver's side window. And like I said, everything happened, like I just had shooting glass everywhere, and I'm like, what just happened? And you sort of it took me a minute to process what had just happened. And then I realized that, you know, sometimes in like your emergency kits, there is a little tool in there that's just got a little point on it, and it's used for breaking a window if you need to get out or something. Well, this sort of served that same purpose, because if you go up and just sort of tap your window like this with a lot of surface area, it's not going to break your glass. But when it does with a little tip like that with, you know, some speed, it's going to shatter the window. That's exactly what happened. So the lesson here for me was, I had been working on this personal development and knew the power of words and emotions and thoughts. And so rather than reacting like I probably would have in years past and being really upset and probably blurting some profanity and what have you, I just calmly just collected myself, and I actually got myself to just start laughing. Because what are you going to do, right? The window's already busted out. It's already happened. And really, what good does it do to start my emotions, my thoughts down a path that's going to lead to a bad result? So I was pretty happy with myself. I just sort of laughed it off and then cleaned it up and took the savings from replacing my rearview mirror to put towards a new rear driver's side window. Isn't that a funny story? I mean, again, at the time, you sort of can see where that could go either way with your emotions, but I tried to do my best to just sort of laugh it off and move down a different path. And that's been more and more the goal that I've had as I've moved down this path of personal development, is to just train your thoughts, train your words, train your emotions, because that's ultimately going to get us in a better place. And I got to tell you, I'm not perfect at it. I've got 4 young children, and that gets tried all the time. So anyway, yeah, sort of a funny example there of DIY, and I definitely will be probably using a professional next time on that one, needless to say, but good experience. So another thing that I want to talk about is they've done some studies on the brain, and they've found ways where they can actually put an individual through different experiences and different emotions, and there's ways that they can now see different parts of the brain that actually light up as it experiences different emotions, and it's going through different experiences. And so they had this really fascinating study that they've done where they were doing this and different things were lighting up, and then somebody had this awesome idea of, hey, wait a minute, what happens to the brain what part of the brain lights up when somebody's idle? So somebody's doing absolutely nothing. What part of the brain is lighting up? And the part that was lighting up was the self-critical part of the brain. Isn't that interesting? So if we're sitting around doing nothing and we're just sort of idle, where our brain automatically starts going to is being self-critical. So we start having negative self-talk, which is obviously not healthy, right? We know, once again, I'm going to keep repeating this because it's very important. Thoughts lead to emotions, lead to actions, lead to, I was trying to spell team there, but it's actually tear, like we said last week, leads to our results, okay? So if I'm idle, my thoughts are going to go to self-critical, and that's going to take me down a path of results that I don't want to be there. I don't want to be critical and negative about myself. And so that's why we talk about these different tools and techniques that you can put in place. And we'll have another one today for the words that we use. But last week we talked about vision boards. Well, what is a vision board doing? It's activating our mind so it's active, it's not idle, and we're focusing our visualization on positive things. So over and over again, as we go through this program, what you're going to see are different things that are keeping our mind conscious versus subconscious. When we slip into subconscious, the natural tendency is for us to go to self-critical and to talk negative about ourselves. So if we can keep ourselves conscious as often as possible with positive things, that's going to ultimately improve the results that we have. So we have vision boards that will do that. And again, we're going to talk about techniques tonight that will help our words stay more positive. But before we get there, I want you to just sort of think a little bit as I go down this list here. I want you to think about and just sort of analyze yourself a little bit in these different areas. So how do you talk about yourself, first of all? And be honest with yourself. Do you tend to be negative about yourself? Do you tend to, talk negative about yourself, maybe whether it's your looks, your abilities, this is an interesting one, your perception of others towards you? Is that negative? As you think about that and you have that internal dialogue. And also when you're talking about yourself, maybe as others talk to you, and do you tend to be more negative and self-deprecating to yourself, or are you more positive about yourself, right? So that's the first place to look. Number two is, how do you talk about others? So I'm not just talking about when you're there with them face to face, but how do you talk about others when they're not there? Do you tend to gossip or talk negatively about others? Is that, just think about that. What is your default when it comes to talking about others? How about social media? This is one that's becoming more and more a thing to talk about, right? Because a lot of our interaction now with people is on social media. And, I got to tell you, there's some people that tend to post very negative things on social media. It's gotten to the point where I've actually had to sort of block a few of them. I mean, I'll stay friends with them, but some of the stuff, their natural tendency is to just really be negative on social media, whether it's complaining or, sharing negative stories that they have. The problem with that is, team, is if you tend to talk negative about social media, and we're going to talk more about this in our emotional management section, but what happens is you are actually unloading your own negative emotion and you're putting it out there, and it's not, what you need to realize is it's not harmless. It is actually harming everyone that sees that, and they then take on that emotion. Have you had that experience when you go on and you read somebody's negative post on social media, and 30 minutes later you're driving down the road and you just feel sort of yucky? Well, and you ask yourself, like, why do I feel like, I don't even know why I'm feeling bad? And then you realize, oh yeah, it was so-and-so's post on social media, and I'm still feeling bad because of what they posted. It wasn't even a thought that you had, right? So that's another area where we need to analyze ourselves and try to make our words a little bit more positive, because it's not just affecting us, it's affecting others once it gets out to that type of a platform. How do you talk about money? So this is a real interesting one. Our words towards money actually influence the result of how much money we have in our lives. So again, nothing happens without a thought coming out first. So if our thoughts about money are negative, our emotions about money will be negative. Our actions with money and towards money will be negative. And then ultimately our results with how much money we have in our life will be negative, right? Can you see why saying things like, I don't have enough money, or I struggle to pay my bills, just thinking and saying those words start you down a path that is not where you want to be. So I would advise you, and we're going to talk about some of the techniques here, is to say more positive things about money. Things like, money is attracted to me. Money comes to me easily. And the thoughts that start coming up for some people as you say these things are, well, that's lying to myself. I'm not going to say that because it's not true. Well, again, you're willing to say negative things about money. Why not change that to a positive thing? So if you want to improve your relationship with money, or how much money you have, it all starts with your thoughts, right? So why not if I want to start a more positive dialogue and a positive relationship with money, then I need to start with better thoughts and better words, better visualization about money. Can you see how all these things are tied in? For some reason, it's easy for people to think about the vision board version of being positive, but when they start saying these words, they're like, well, no, that's not true. I can't say that because I'm lying to myself. Well, again, you're willing to say negative things about money, so why not say positive things, right? And start yourself down a more positive result. So again, think about and analyze how you do with your relationship with money. The same can be tied with your time and your body, and even your relationship with food. All of these things, you have a relationship with them, right? So it's best to have good words about our body, good words about time. How many times do we say, I don't have enough, if there was only more time in the day? And time even has a name, right? Father time is what we call time. So there's actually like an entity of time out there, and we need to have a good relationship with time so that our time results improve. So all of these things are tied together. Children, this is a huge one. If you're someone that has children, it's important to be very careful how we talk about our children. If you have a tendency to explain as you're talking to an individual and you're like, child one, da da da, child two is our problem child. We actually label our kids with negative labels and the words that we say. And the problem with that is, if you have a child that you label a problem child or any other type of negative label, the people that you describe that child that way to, they're going to start treating your child that way. And what you don't know is subconsciously, you are going to treat your child more that way as well. This is something that I really appreciate my parents for. When I was growing up, I remember they used positive reinforcement and positive words. They just thought the world of my ability and my potential, and they communicated that to me all the time, so that I really took that on and I wanted to step into that role. And I feel like I succeeded more because my parents used positive words towards me, and especially when others were around, they would always just talk up very highly about me, which I thought was great. And I can, looking back now, understand why that had such a great impact on me, because it helped me have better thoughts about myself, better emotions about myself, actions about myself, and the results were more positive because of the way my parents talked to me. So think about that one. And then ultimately, the things we own. How do we talk about the things that we own as well? I'm talking just like the possessions we have, because those also, those thoughts and words that we have towards things also influence the things around us, literally the things around us. So let's talk about some different types of declarations or affirmations that we see around us to start giving you an idea of what these are and what they look like. So number one, you remember in school, we would all recite this, the Pledge of Allegiance. Isn't this a type of declaration that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America? So we're repeating the Pledge of Allegiance so that we as a nation are more united to one another because we're united to the nation, right? So that is a type of a declaration. Another one here is, so I go with my boy to Scouts. In the scouting program, they have the Scout Oath, the Scout Law, and they recite these things every time they meet. They recite them at the monthly PAC meetings that I go to. There's the Blue and Gold Banquet, all these things. They have these oaths and laws that the boys memorize that are all positive traits. And as they repeat those, you can see why they want to sort of start taking those on. Most companies out there have what's called a mission statement. And again, this is ultimately what the company is looking to do with its customers, with its employees. And a lot of times in company meetings, these will be repeated because these are instilling within the employees the values or the mission statement the company has taken on. All right. And I'll share one more with you that my wife and I have talked about here more recently, is at church, within our church, the young women, so women that are between the ages of 12 and 18, every week at church, they recite what are called the young women values. So similar to Scouts, they have just these values that are very positive and, to the community, to families, all of that. They recite in church as a group, and what is happening is they are instilling in their thoughts and within themselves a better self-image, better thoughts that are leading to those better results. So if you look around, and I'm sure you can come up with other examples that are around us of different declarations that are around us and how those are utilized to improve the thought process and get people more in line with where we're looking to go as a nation, as a company, individually, and as contributors to the community, and so on. So just sort of fun to think about those different examples that we have. So a quote that one of my mentors, Kirk Duncan, I talk about a lot. He's somebody that I've learned a lot about. He had a quote that he says that I really love, and he says, "Say it until it happens. So keep saying it over and over again until it happens. A lot of times it takes time for those thoughts and emotions and actions and results to kick in. So we need to spend a lot of time here, and then eventually our thoughts will get on board and it'll sort of domino to those better results. So say it until it happens. I love, love, love that quote that he would share. Another thing that I want you to realize, visualize, is as we think about, just do a simple picture here of ourselves. So the combination here of our visualization, which we talked about could be one way to visualize, is our vision board. Today we're going to talk about verbalization, or our declarations or affirmations. These two things combined here, this is what we become. So what we see and what we say equals, so number one, what we see, plus number two, what we say, equals number three, what we become. That is an equation. So this course, this program here from Wishing to Winning may not be going these first couple weeks where you thought they would go, right? You thought, well, we'll be diving into goals and making them, making them clear and making them, the SMART goals, right? We have those, and we do hit on those because they are important, but it really starts with your visualization, and your verbalization is really going to help you to what you become. So again, this is all laying the groundwork here. I hope you're on board now and you're getting why it's so important that the words we use are positive. If you're somebody that's tended to be negative internally and the way you verbalize in the past, that's okay. But now you know why it's so important that we're more positive, because you are literally, with your words and with what you're seeing, you are setting the path of what you are becoming. So now that you've got that training, we make those more positive by utilizing these tools and techniques we're talking about, and you're going to improve your results. You really are. It's as simple as put better in our sight, better in our verbalization, and that is going to get us down a better path. Okay. So now, how do we actually, what is the tool, Dave? Okay, that's all great. How do I actually do this? So what are the actual actionable things that I can now do? Good question. So here's what I suggest is, let's make a list here. I think this is Benjamin Franklin. He'd always have your pros and cons, right, of different things. And he'd have you do this list and see which outweighs which, right? But I'm going to actually switch this around. Let's do our negative over here, just because you'll see why this flows maybe a little bit better here. So I've got a couple examples I've written down here to show us exactly how we can use a technique now to give ourselves better verbalization and some declarations that are now a tool that we can utilize. So what I've written down is what I want you to think about, and this is an exercise you want to spend a little time thinking about. You may know some of these right off the top of your mind, but I want you to think about what are the negative things that you tend to tell yourself on a daily basis. So if, again, back to that study, if you're in idle mode or you're not doing anything, your mind is going to go to self-critical. What are those things that you tell yourself that are more negative of nature? So I will get personal here with you and a little vulnerable myself and show you with myself an example of what I'm talking about here. So say, for example, if one of my negatives is I am scared to fail. Okay? I am scared to fail. That's something I've dealt with in the past, and I still, to a certain extent today, do. So I've got a fun goal or something I want to go do, and I instantly go to this mode of, well, what if I fail? And nothing's even happened. So this is just an internal negative dialogue that I have with myself that I don't want to have, because if you're scared to fail, you may not start going towards the thing that you're wanting to do that's going to improve your life, right? So write down whatever that thing is for you, the negative thought that you have, and it can be anything, right? Another example I had here that we won't go into much detail is I am not smart enough. Okay, that's not one that I tend to have a ton myself, but that's one I think people do have a lot, is I'm not smart enough for whatever it might be. So if you're scared to fail, what you now do is I want you to come up with 2 sentences that are the opposite of your negative thought. Okay, so what I've written down here, for example, is if I'm scared I will fail, how about writing I succeed at the goals I set? So can you see how that would in some ways be viewed as almost an opposite to this statement? And then another one is I am confident in my abilities. Okay, so I am confident in my abilities. So now what we've done for ourselves is we've taken a statement that really paralyzes us, that's negative and taking us down a route we do not want to go, and we've replaced it with 2 positive statements. So there's even a little mind game we're doing with ourselves here, is that, oh, if there's one here, I'm going to outweigh it with 2 positive things. Okay. Now, if you go ahead and do this with 1, maybe 2 other negative things and add 2 more for each of those, we've now created for ourselves 6 positive statements that override negative things that we've said to ourselves in the past. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take these 6 things that we just created. Now, watch this. And the number, by the way, doesn't matter. I think I would start off with 5 or 6, I think is a good place to start. So similar to our vision board, start with 1, maybe 2 items. Here, start with 4 or 5 items. But you're going to get I jumped on my computer and typed these out, but let's just stick with our example so you can see what happens here. Daily, I'll put a title up here of daily declarations. Okay. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to actually write them right here. Now let me show you what I've got, if I can find it, down here with me. Oh, you know what? I didn't bring it down. I actually took a picture. That's what I did. So let me show you. Again, I apologize. It'll probably be blurry. I'll just show you for, you'll get the idea here of what I've taken a picture of. So if you remember back again to my live video I did either Friday or Saturday, remember how I showed you those declarations that I have right next to my vision board? That's what I'm talking about. So right next to my vision board, let this zoom in here for 2 seconds, see if it picks it up. Oh, lighting's a little tough. Come on. No? I don't know if it's going to do it, guys. Sorry, it's a little blurred out there. What I've got here is I took a picture of my declarations. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, okay, that I've written here on my declaration board. Let me go ahead and read these to you, okay? I'll share with you just to give you some ideas here and in the, just give you a real life example. These are my declarations here. So at the top, I've written 2018, the year of conquer. So what I did at the first of the year is I came up with a word for the year that is in its own way a declaration. So conquer is sort of my 1-word declaration, if you will, that I have for the year of 2018 that I think about all the time. So my first declaration is, I have amazing leadership and relationship skills, and others love to be around me and are waiting for me to engage them. The second one, I am a fabulous realtor and am ready to take on an immense amount of real estate leads and business and have a massive income year as a realtor. Third one, I am a talented mentor. This attracts my ideal mentees, and I openly receive this opportunity to serve them for payment amounts that get me very excited. Okay. Number 4, money is my friend and is very attracted to me. It finds me easily and can't wait to help me fulfill my deepest desires in life. Okay, you getting a feel for these? Number 5, My body is trim, healthy, and strong, and my physical appearance opens new doors constantly. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what else I'm doing as I actually implement my declarations each day, but I'm just going to read them for now. So that was number 5, did I say? Yeah. Number 6, Holly and I, that's my wife, are a power couple. We have a marriage with true happiness and joy. And the last one, number 7, I have a strong and deep positive connection with my children. They love me and cherish my words, and I love and cherish them. Isn't that cool? Don't we need more of this in the world, these positive statements to ourselves versus the negative things, right? I use this example a lot, but you would never go up, most people wouldn't anyway, go up and say super negative things to other people, but they'll say them about themselves. And that's a problem because that's going to tear yourself down and put you on a bad path. And you're ultimately not going to be able to help as many people around you because you're beating yourself down to the point where your results are so poor, you can't help other people. You've put yourself in a bad position. So it is okay to talk to ourselves positively. Does everyone understand that? If you agree it's okay to talk to ourselves positively, write yes in the chat box real quick, and let me see those yeses come in. Good, thank you. It is okay to talk positive to ourselves. Okay, that is something that is going to put you in a better position to help other people out. And we need to stop being so negative to ourselves and start being more positive to ourselves. And some people, if you got sort of a churchy bone in your body, some people initially struggle with this because you're like, well, no, that makes me prideful and I need to be humble. Well, I don't think that's what our creator, or whoever your supreme being is. And frankly, you don't even need to believe in a supreme being to feel this way. But if it's the environment or whatever it may be that you view as your supreme being, they want you to be in a better position to serve other people. Have you heard that before? And the best way you can serve other people is if you yourself are doing better and you put yourself in a position to lift others up. You cannot lift others up if you yourself need to be lifted up. Okay? I think I've hammered that point home, but that's a point that I'm very passionate about. And that's what's got me and Holly so amped up about personal development, is because I have now offered this program, and I'm not trying to pat my own back here, but I have opened this program up to individuals for free because I'm now in a position where I feel like I have information I can share with others that's going to be helpful. But if I were not in this position, I wouldn't be able to share this information. And I would, by the way, as you get through this, I would hope that you're sharing this with your family and friends because it's going to help lift them up as well, right? So, does everyone understand now how you can create your own declarations? Or one way that you can do this is you can take negative things that you're saying to yourself, and from those, take the opposite and create positive things. Now, how you actually do this, so similar, once again, I know not rocket science here, but these declarations, I would like you to recite them every morning and every evening at a minimum. Now, what I've got here, I've got pulled up on my computer, my timer. Okay, I'm going to time these. Let's see how fast I can go through these, okay? By the way, wake up in the morning, I work my vision board 3 minutes, and then I go straight to my declarations. And I say them out loud, okay? So let's go ahead and time this. I have amazing leadership and relationship skills, and others love to be around me and are waiting for me to engage them. I am a fabulous realtor, and I'm ready to take on an immense amount of real estate leads and business and have a massive income year as a realtor. I am a talented mentor. This attracts my ideal mentees, and I openly receive this opportunity to serve them for payment amounts that get me very excited. Money is my friend and is very attracted to me. It finds me easily and can't wait to help me fulfill my deepest desires in life. My body is trim, healthy, and strong, and my physical appearance opens new doors constantly. Holly and I are a power couple. We have a marriage with true happiness and joy. I have a strong and deep positive connection with my children. They love me and cherish my words, and I love and cherish them. 59 seconds. All right. Yeses again in the chat box. Who of you is willing to spend 59 seconds in the morning and another 59 seconds in the evening to say positive words to yourself? Who's in? All right, I got an absolutely. Eric, yes. Good. That's what I like to see. Guys, this is a key. This is a key. I'm telling you, I know it sounds so simple, but think of how negative we talk to ourselves throughout the day. And if we completely switch that to start saying positive things about ourselves every morning and every evening, I can promise you I've done this for a couple of years. It's huge. So to review real quick. So now what are we up to here? So let's do morning, every evening. Get up in the morning. So and we're going to talk about routine. So there's a couple other pieces here, but so what we've learned so far, we're going to get up in the morning and vision board for 3 minutes. And then followed directly by our declarations. Let's round up a second to 1 minute. Okay? And then the evening, same thing. So what does that total us up to? 4 here. 8 minutes. If I told you 8 minutes would make every day would make a massive, dramatic difference in your outcomes, who would be willing to give 8 minutes every day to do these things for massive positive outcomes? Let's see the yeses over there in the chat box. I'm keeping you guys close to your keyboard here. Thank you, Eric. Yes, only 8 yes. Isn't that, we could do the math here on how many minutes, or let's do it real quick actually. How many, you guys probably already know this, how many minutes in a day? 1,440. Okay, so we have 1,440 minutes a day, and I'm asking you to take 8 of those and dedicate them to your own personal development, to improving your personal results. Easy enough, right? That's all it is. That's all it is. A lot of the other stuff we're going to talk about are techniques outside of that. Some of them include a little bit of time, most do not, but look, this is time that I would just make non-negotiable time every day that you need to do these things, okay? All right, so let's dive in. We've got, I don't know, about 15 minutes here left, it looks like. So I've got several other things that I want to go through with you. This one's awesome, okay? So I use Big Blue here quite a bit, old trusty whiteboard, because I love getting my thoughts out here on the board. So with your declarations, we talked about our vision board, how we make them more effective. So by working the vision board, by adding emotion, that fuel to the fire. So what are some of the ways that we really magnify our declarations or make them better? Here's a couple ideas for you. Add epic music. Can I get an amen on that one? All right. What I did, guys, is I went to YouTube and I found a couple songs. Find something that gets you motivated, but I found a couple clips, one from Braveheart and one from Gladiator, the theme music for those. There's a reason those movies are good. They know how to add in the good music that gets you those goosebumps almost, right? I'm getting them actually as I talk right now. So I found the sequence in Braveheart, the theme of Braveheart that I like the most. I clipped it to exactly 3 minutes. So there's downloading software you can do. I'm not going to give you all of that. You can go Google it, but there's ways to download the audio from any YouTube video. And then there's other software you can go and clip it to whatever length you want. I found 3 minutes. What I do is I have I can't even think of what it is. I actually just put it on my phone, but I also have a radio there. Sorry, I was trying to think of what it's called. Don't even use radios anymore, huh? But no, I put the clips on my phone. I can go and play the Braveheart theme, and I get that and I turn it up loud. And then as I'm reading my declarations and I've got Braveheart behind me, I have an amazing leadership and relationship skills, and I'm getting into it. So again, adding emotion and music to our declarations. Music is extremely powerful way to get us more engaged in that. And what happens is our minds, if we just say these things monotonously the same way every day, our brain, the part of our brain that talks negative to ourselves, can block that. It just takes that monotonous sound, that monotonous tone, and it can say, no, that's not true. And it sort of blocks it away. Over time, it's going to eventually get in, but a way to get through that block quicker is add epic music and add emotion. You want to hear another funny one? And I do this. Use different voices. What I mean by that is, and this is in no way meant to offend anyone in any way, but hopefully you can understand why I do this. I use Italian grandma voice. So how would that work? Italian grandma voice. I will say my declarations this way. I have an amazing leadership and relationship skills. There's something about, it sounds real funny, I know, but there's something about using the different voices. It gets past that filter. Our mind has to pay attention because it's so weird and funny that it gets through there. So I've got sort of a list of different voices. Okay, Italian grandma, British. Who doesn't like a good British accent? Come on. This is another one, a black mother. Okay. I know, I'm not trying to offend anyone at this point, but everyone knows when you hear black mother, you know what that voice sounds like, right? Oh, nuh-uh. And you're getting into it and saying those declarations. It's going to get through that block in your mind. And those things are going to stick. And it's just another way, again, if you want to add fuel to your declarations, these are things that I have tried that work for me. And I would encourage you to use them as well, okay? Now, a couple other thoughts here. What about being around negative people? Again, this is a topic we're going to talk about in another training in a future week here. But being with negative people, okay, this is a tough one. But here's my suggestion to you. If you want to change, change starts with me, okay? I need to step up and go first and be an example to negativity around me, all right? A lot of times what happens is negative people, what they're looking for is a reaction that lets them know that they got you, right? They got to you. They made you feel bad. And that's really the reaction they're looking for. If you give them back positive and you react with positive words and positive emotion, quickly those people are going to go away, or they're going to change their way they're acting around you because they're not getting the reaction they're used to getting from everyone else, okay? So if you want change to happen in your environment, you go first. You've now got the tools with vision boards and declarations. You can go first and you can be the positive influence and start to spread that rather than letting that negativity influence you, okay? We talked a little bit about this one, but I want to emphasize it one more time. You may have this experience when you get going on your declarations that you don't believe them as you're saying them, because again, you're taking a negative thought that you have about yourself or negative words you've said about yourself and changing them to the opposite. It's going to feel a little weird initially, like you're almost like you're lying to yourself. But again, remember what you're doing. This is important. We're saying things to create different thoughts, which are going to create different emotions, which are going to create different actions and different results. So the reason we're saying these things is we're trying to plant a different seed, okay? We're not going to get to a more positive result by thinking negative things about ourselves. So we have to change the thoughts, and the ways that we do that are with our visual and our verbal. More positive in here, more positive here. Okay, I'm going to keep emphasizing this because it's got to stick in there, and then you'll realize why these things are so important. Okay. All right. last couple thoughts here, and we're going to wrap this training up. By the way, are you guys getting anything out of this? Maybe just throw in something in the chat board. Let me know you're learning something. This is helpful, that you're benefiting from what we're training on tonight about declarations. Great. I got a heck yes. I like that one. Great. Okay. We'll keep it going here. We got a couple last thoughts on this topic. This is why I start off with these two topics, vision boards and declarations, because it really does set the foundation for everything else that we're going to talk about. And it's, frankly, if you just did vision boards and declarations, your life is going to improve immensely. Everything else is just to layer on top of that and create even better, an even better chance that you're going to get those end results that you're looking for. Pardon me, just look at my notes here real quick. Oh, I am going to post for you, and this is something you feel free to steal this, use it yourself, whatever you'd like to do. With our family, every morning, our routine as a family is we get up, eat breakfast, we watch some fun music videos, we get some dancing going to get start the day. And then what we do is we, as a family, will say family prayers. And then we've created family declarations. We have our list. I think there's 6 lines on it. 3, 4, 5, 6. We actually printed a nice, it's on a photo. I think we actually just created a photo. So like a 4x6, we actually printed it off at Kinko's or whatever, or at Costco or something. And we put it up on the fridge. And then as we get ready for a family, we go get that off the fridge. We say our prayers. The same kid or parent that said prayers is the leader in our family declarations. Our family declarations, I may be able to just tell them to you because we do them every day. I am kind to others. I choose the right. I am awesome. I listen to my teacher. So we want the kids to listen to their teacher. I am a child of God. I am in charge of how I feel. And I feel incredible. That's our lines right there. I actually recorded a video of us doing this with the kids, and it sort of went viral. We ended up getting a ton of views on this thing. So I'll post it to our Facebook page, and you guys can check it out. Feel free to share with others. But like I said, steal the example. Like if you guys want to implement something similar in your family, it makes a big difference. The kids go out the door positive, ready to take on the day. And at the end, we do a family cheer too. So we do our declarations, and then we all put our hands in and we go, oh, family. And then we give hugs and kisses and everyone's out the door. So think about that start to your day as opposed to sometimes how we start our day. Getting out of bed, we're mad that we got to get up, we're still tired, we brush our teeth, we maybe scarf down a little food that's maybe not even good for us, and we're out the door to work, right? And that's, maybe say bye to people, but can you tell how that start to the day versus what I just explained to you that I do with my family is? And trust me, we didn't do this for a long time. We just started implementing this probably about 1.5 years ago. But it's made a big, big difference, and I love that we do that tradition. So think of doing that, and I'm going to make myself a note to send this out, post on Facebook for group. So I will do that sometime here in the next day so that you can check that out. Another thing that you can do on that list of adding fuel or efficiencies, if you will, if you don't even want to take that 1 minute to read them, you can record them. So have your music going in the background, record one epic way of you saying your declarations, maybe in one of your fun voices you come up with. And then what you can do is you now have it on your phone. When you go to brush your teeth in the morning, hit play on that. It's going to be 1 minute long, but it's going to be really good. It's recorded. While you're brushing your teeth, you don't even have to read them. You're just listening to them. It's going to have the same effect. But you're maybe looking yourself in the eye as you're listening to these, and it's sinking in eye to eye there. You're looking at yourself. But that's another thing you can do is you can record your declarations and play them for yourself while you're doing other things. So you don't even, now we've shrunk down our time for the day from 8 minutes. Now we're down to 6 minutes because we're just simply listening to a recording that we did. So again, 6 minutes out of the day, 6 to 8 minutes out of the day for your vision board and declarations is awesome. All right. Oh yeah, this is another thing that's another, let's call this, if this has been 101 training on vision boards, let's go to some 201 stuff here. So now if I have my vision board, okay, I've got my item here, whatever it might be, it's my description. Another cool thing you can do, now maybe say you've got up to 3 things now. One thing you can do is you can have your declarations directly correlate to items on your vision board, okay? So say this is an item, have a really cool positive statement or declaration that helps you with this item. Same thing for number 2 and same thing for number 3. So you can have your declarations reinforce the items you're going for in your vision board with a positive statement for each item. So that's another thing that you can do that is really going to help you add fuel to your vision board, is to have your declarations support those. Okay, another awesome thing there. Okay, just again to emphasize this point once again for you, if you do not have declarations that are in your mind that you're saying to yourself on a daily basis, and you're staying subconscious is self-critical, it's negative, right? So that's why, as much as possible, you'll hear me through this program talking to you about keeping ourselves conscious, because when we're conscious, we're in control of what we're thinking. We're in control of our emotions. If you slip to subconscious, that's the point at which you start to lose control of what you are thinking and your emotions. So just keep in mind that we want to stay conscious, and that's why we use these tools that actually make us proactively engage a vision board and declarations, because they're making us stay conscious of what we're actually thinking at that point in time. Okay. All right. So yeah, just our thoughts. Our thoughts are going to become our reality. And what feed our thoughts? Visualization and verbalization. Verbalization, visualization. Okay, vision board, declarations. We've now got our 2 tools that are going to feed our thoughts, which ultimately determine our reality. You see how we start to have this equation going on here? We're plugging in the pieces to all get it cut at the core and the root. Keep in mind, remember that diagram we did with our tree here? And the roots down here are our thoughts and emotions. The trunk and branches are the actions. And the fruit here on our tree are our results. If we're going to get at the root, really get at the root and make dramatic, long-lasting change, we've got to change our thoughts and emotions. And this is how we do it: it's visualization and verbalization. All right. Who can jot in for me in the chat box for me the equation starting with thoughts and ending with results? Let's just have you write it in there real quick. I want to make sure that you guys understand the equation there. Yes, TEAR, great. Marta's got it. Dana's got it. Awesome. Thoughts, emotions, actions, result. Now, honestly, anyone, and Brandon, thank you. If you want to help influence others around you that could use this same stuff, Eric got it. This is simply showing them this diagram and really drilling home thoughts, emotions, actions, results. Most people have this aha moment, and they know now they're now accountable for the first time on why it's so important that they stay positive, because they realize the equation. And everyone wants to have better results. So it starts with those thoughts and emotions. All right. That's what I've got tonight, guys. We stayed right at about, maybe went a hair over, 5 minutes over on our 1 hour tonight. But again, hopefully it was good information. Who got some stuff out of tonight? Let's see a few things there in the chat box. Great. For sure. Great. Now, we can't let you go before I give you a challenge, right? That's my goal as a mentor. That's my job as your mentors. We don't just talk, we get action. That's the big thing. So the activity, let's just make a list of what we've got so far. So week 1, our activity was get a vision board up in your home, hopefully on your wall or on your bathroom mirror where you can see it every day. You're going to look at that, work it 3 minutes every morning and every evening. Okay. This week, so we're in week number 2, is, you got it, you're going to create declarations. And I'm going to say at least 5 lines, okay? 5 lines of positive, uplifting statements. And it's going to take 1 minute. You're going to 1 minute every morning and 1 minute every evening. You're going to start saying those. So who on here can take on that challenge to create declarations this week? Okay, got I'm in, coming in here, we're in, awesome, I will. Okay, that's your challenge this week, team. And again, if you have any questions on the training from today, put them into our Facebook group. I'm going to jump on again on Wednesday night. Typically that call's a little shorter. It can go longer. I'm happy to do it. But any questions on declarations, throw them in, or any other items related to personal development. We're going to jump again on Wednesday. And then by Friday, what I would like you to do is I would like you to post something on our Facebook group, okay, just for this program, the From Winning to Winning March 2008 group. I'd like you to post something that you learned about declarations, or maybe a success. Like, Dave, I'm noticing a difference as I say these, or something like that. Let's throw those in there. I love seeing those because that helps everyone else get motivated in the group too, to start engaging and getting a little bit more involved with our declaration. So that is the challenge for this week. So by Friday, I'd like you to post something. Feel free to do it before if you have some successes, but by Friday, let's say Friday at midnight, let's have you jump on and post something related to your declarations that is something that you learned, something that's been a success, something that's been helpful. And maybe you're even willing to take a picture of your declarations and post them up there. Whatever you feel comfortable with, a video, let's see them up there. I think that reporting back piece is really important to this whole process. So guys, that's week number 2 training. I love it. I love helping you guys. I love giving some information. I'm glad to hear that you're getting something from it. Let's just stay in touch on the Facebook group, and I will be back in touch on Wednesday. For those of you that didn't catch it live here, I'm going to take some time right now. I'm going to download the video and post it to our Facebook group so you can watch it there. Watch the replay. I know some of you have commitments tonight, not able to make it, so I will post the recording in our group. You can come on and watch that recording at a later time. And hey, this is a lot of fun, guys. Thanks so much for your time tonight, and I will be in touch, and we'll be in touch over this week on our Facebook group. Have a great week and make it a good one with declarations.